Shock move. Carney slashes bridge toll to mask Trump talks fallout. Ford faces backlash. In a week full of blunders, Prime Minister Mark Carney tried to distract from his failures by slashing PI bridge tolls from $50 to $20. While pitched as a cost-saving measure, it was clearly a diversion from his weak performance in global trade talks, especially compared to Donald Trump's bold international deals. As Trump makes strategic moves abroad, Carney fixates on toll prices at home, highlighting Canada's diminishing presence on the world stage. Alberta's Battle River, Crowfoot by-election has turned into a farce, with over 210 candidates cluttering a 7-foot-long ballot. Instead of genuine reform, the race is flooded with protest candidates who've hijacked a conservative stronghold to make a point, ironically undermining democracy in the process. Voters are outraged, and Elections Canada appears powerless to restore credibility to the process. Carney's trade failures underscore his misplaced priorities. He avoids tough international talks and refuses to address domestic issues like supply management, a rigged system that inflates food prices and rewards wealthy quota holders. Rather than reform this outdated policy, Carney protects entrenched interests, leaving ordinary Canadians footing the bill. Across the provinces, immigration pressures continue to mount. Since 2021, asylum claims in Canada have skyrocketed from 23,000 to 171,000 annually. This influx isn't just a strain on public services, it's sparking a deep divide among citizens. Shelters are full, health services are overwhelmed, and cities like Toronto are struggling to house both newcomers and locals. Yet the federal government continues to fund hotel stays, meals, and healthcare for asylum seekers, while homeless Canadians remain overlooked. The policies appear less rooted in compassion and more in economics, benefiting developers, rental markets, and mortgage insurers, especially those connected to players like Brookfield, whose influence in real estate and finance is hard to ignore. The strain on Canada's healthcare system is becoming undeniable. A tragic recent case in Ontario saw a young boy die due to delays in emergency care, yet politicians continue to champion the idea of free healthcare as if the system isn't collapsing. Emergency rooms are understaffed, wait times are measured in hours or days, and rural areas are being hit hardest. The government's refusal to admit there's a crisis only deepens public frustration. If universal healthcare is a national treasure, it's one that's being slowly and painfully hollowed out by mismanagement and underinvestment. And yet, for all their promises, neither the Liberals nor provincial leaders have offered serious solutions. On the West Coast, Premier David Eby boasts of adding 5,000 megawatts of green energy. But the government continues to ignore nuclear energy, the most reliable and cleanest form available. Instead, British Columbia is doubling down on wind and solar, projects that are expensive to build, require vast land areas, and have a questionable environmental payoff. Eby emphasizes that 9 out of 10 energy projects are Indigenous-owned, which may sound inclusive, but it raises concerns about exclusionary economic practices. Energy should be about results and sustainability, not symbolic politics or selective ownership models. Back in Ontario, Premier Doug Ford is trying to reclaim credibility on immigration. After years of passivity, he now rails against asylum seekers lacking permits and federal delays in processing claims. But Ford's shift seems politically calculated rather than principled. Just months ago, he praised Mark Carney and echoed liberal immigration rhetoric. Now, facing pressure from his base, he's demanding stricter controls and calling out hotel subsidies. Yet Ford still avoids real reform. There's no plan to streamline deportations for fraudulent claimants or to tie social assistance to employment. He's posturing without proposing. What's needed isn't more grandstanding. It's clarity and leadership. Carney's government should stop dodging and start acting, deport those who abuse the system, ensure newcomers contribute immediately, and restrict political activity to citizens. Protests blocking roads and disrupting city centers are unacceptable when led by non-citizens demanding entitlements. Immigration should serve Canada, not strain it. The current system is breeding resentment and eroding trust, and both federal and provincial leaders seem too timid to confront the problem head-on. As Canada flounders in trade and immigration, The contrast with Donald Trump grows starker. The U.S. president is securing global deals, reducing foreign dependency, and pushing clear national objectives. Carney, by contrast, flails in Q&As, deflects questions on Canada's digital services tax negotiations, and waffles on matters of economic sovereignty. His evasiveness during recent press conferences, particularly when discussing tax exemptions for U.S. firms, reeks of weakness. There's no clear vision, no accountability, only spin. The overuse of identity politics continues to infect public discourse. When Trump recently criticized London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, media outlets rushed to accuse him of racism and Islamophobia. But the criticism wasn't racial, it was performance-based. Canadian leaders have learned from this tactic. Rather than defending policy with data, they label critics as bigots or extremists. This silences real concerns about immigration, housing, energy, and healthcare, and turns citizens against each other instead of toward solutions. Canadians want answers, not moral lectures. Behind the slogans and announcements, Canadians are watching their quality of life erode. Inflation, housing costs, rising crime, and public service delays aren't abstract issues. They're daily realities. The political elite, whether it's Carney's Liberals or opportunists like Ford, seem more invested in optics than outcomes. Energy projects are announced, tolls are cut, promises are made, but the deeper issues remain unresolved. Canadians feel ignored, squeezed, and dismissed by leaders who appear more concerned with managing headlines than fixing problems. In the end, the bridge toll cut won't matter much. What matters is that Canada is adrift. The electorate is angry not because of partisanship, but because of neglect. Mark Carney may control the narrative today, but with each evasive answer and shallow gesture, he chips away at the public's trust. Doug Ford's flip-flops haven't gone unnoticed either. This isn't just political theater, it's a moment of reckoning. The country is demanding more than symbolism. It's demanding leadership.